I wanted to talk about this concept of wearing the mask and what this means for us, sort of as men of color, but then this metaphysical sense of wearing the mask as well. How has this played out for y'all in society, right? Like I think of times like where I go into a store and I have to carry myself a certain way. I'm 6'4", 255 pounds, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I have to carry myself a certain way to minimize my threat. But when you're masked up, you're walking into a place. How have you all seen that play out for yourselves in society?
Like I live in the Bronx during like the heights of like the Black Lives like Matter movement, like the riots were happening and everything. Like I didn't have a mask at the time. I had a bandana, so I didn't want to like go outside and people like affiliate me with like someone doing the wrong thing or just like put their own like bias or prejudice on like my identity as a man and as a black man.
Yeah, it was the same thing, like just being conscious about who I'm around, because like everybody could be asymptomatic. Like you don't know if, you could get sick or not. So it was always like, I had to keep it on. I had to make sure like that's the first thing I grabbed when I walked out the door. If
Yeah.
not, it was just like a second thought in my head because it wasn't everyday life for us. And now it's like normalized for us.
I notice I definitely do some things that to minimize myself as being a threat. Like I definitely don't wear a hoodie with the mask anymore.
Facts.
Like going into a store and like
See, and that's
definitely
where
bad
that's why I feel
combo.
like I had my problem. I wore a hoodie in stores with a mask on and had people follow me around, just like
Exactly.
look at me weird, just like I'm going in there to get a soda. Why are you looking at me like
Exactly.
I'm committing a crime? Just because I have a mask on and a hoodie, now you think I'm a
Exactly.
double threat, and it's just ridiculous, I think.
The mere thought that we have to think about how we dress in a space, how much of our full selves we bring to a space. Why shouldn't I be able to wear something that's comfortable for me, hoodied up? We don't have a choice with a mask, right? We're trying to keep everyone around us safe, keep ourselves safe. But there's an inherent non-safety for myself,
Yeah.
right? You think about Trayvon Martin. Zimmerman says he was wearing a hoodie, I thought he might have been a threat.
Yeah.
And this is years and years and years ago. So can you imagine if Trayvon had on a mask too?
Yeah. Nah, it's crazy you say that because I've even had like personal experiences like where like I literally I would stop wearing a hoodie like at night like coming from classes, going from classes because it wasn't even like how I felt like I'd be treated here. It was more like other students like treatment like of me like their like own biases and prejudice. Like I remember my freshman year, I would have a hoodie because I would go running and working out at night and I would be hoodied up and then like girls would literally like hold their backpacks or like cross the street because like they just naturally assume like you associate like those things with like threatening features of a black person. I was like, I don't want to feel like this. People are starting to realize like the different like realities that like demographics live in. Like if you're a person of color, like sometimes this level of anxiety, this bubble you live in is like crazy because you deal with issues and situations that you can't really necessarily explain to somebody. Like wouldn't make sense to somebody
Right.
who wasn't like you. So like the idea of like wearing a hoodie, like you said, everybody here was just like, yeah, we got that. But if you spit that to somebody else who like was like a not a person of color, it would make zero sense.
So how do you deal with that, right? Like you say it's hard for you to explain your experience to people who might not get it.
Yeah.
But we have to in some capacity, right? Like how much of our authentic selves we can bring to a space, right? Part of that has to do with this concept of how much we have to code switch.
I feel like I
And-
can't be comfortable.
Right,
With
we
it.
have to make others comfortable.
You have to try to make something out of nothing, really, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like the mask just, it doesn't just bring out one problem, it brings out so many more. You know what I mean? And it's just like one, like being uncomfortable is like, I feel like us as like black men, we've like become comfortable with being like uncomfortable or being put in an uncomfortable situation and
It
like,
just become like the norm.
right,
Yeah.
and it just becomes the norm, which is, I feel weird. Like it shouldn't be the norm.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. Especially like myself, I've gone to predominantly white institutions my whole life. I feel like making my peers, my other white counterparts around me comfortable is like, I'm just so used to that at this point. Like it's really nothing to me at this point. Especially coming here, like I've been doing this. So
Yeah, but
like,
are you comfortable though? Like, do you feel comfortable?
No, sometimes no.
That pressure of like being a person of color and trying to explain to people what was going on and trying to be able to get them into that light and get them into that mindset that like it's more than just what's going on right now, it's what's been going on. It's like the way everything has been set up for us in society. And that was tough within itself. And I feel like for me, the first thing I did was get away from social media,
Yeah.
which was hard because everybody was there. And I was like, I don't need that. Like, I need to check on my friends. Like, I need to make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah, I remember you
Like,
used to hit me up. You would call
I
me all
called
the
you
time.
that day.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally in a gas station, and the first people I thought about was you and my boys back home. So I was just like, let me call Esau, see what's up with him.
Social media and how we decide to take some self-care and step away from that sometimes is always interesting to me. Like during this quarantine or whatever you want to call it, I feel like that's something we all had to do, right? Not only because of COVID, but because of the other public health crisis with racism and us opening up, you know, whatever platform and seeing another black man dead. That's where I try to take some radical self-care or radical self-love, as Bell Hooks would put it, and step away, right? So I could try to take care of myself a little bit, but I had some of that as well.